All right. Taylor, Gio, and Caesar. So we're working on Leave It today, but the first thing we wanted to show you was how we actually let Caesar come inside. So for Caesar, when he comes inside, it's like letting loose a kraken inside. He comes in, okay, I push through and I start running back and forth. I'm so excited. That's not what we're going to accept from Caesar. We only want to cultivate calmness with Caesar at all times of day. And I know that seems impossible, but it really isn't. If you think about his thresholds, he only has maybe this one right here where he goes through, and we need him to come through the door calmly. So when he hesitates slightly, and when he takes a breath and let us put the leash on and then walk in calmly, that's when we let him inside. Meanwhile, he tries to push past us and kind of bolt through. We immediately close the door. We're not hitting him with the door, of course, but we just closing it in his face, let him know, look, we cannot let you inside like that. You have to come in more calmly. And when we actually show you this in person, you actually going to see how that makes sense. But he did a really good job right there. So let's go into what he learned today. So today he learned something called Leave It. Leave It is probably our favorite cue. It is also probably the most important cue for all of our dogs that we train. Leave It literally means look away. Do not look at what I'm telling you to leave. So Leave It means he can never have it. Another good note about Leave It is that whatever a dog is looking at, they're typically thinking about it. So if they look away from it, that literally means that they're not thinking about it a little bit in that moment. So right now, we are using food for him to leave. Gio has a hot dog in her hand, and she's asking him to leave it. The moment he looks away, she's going to click and then give him a treat. Yes, good. He looked her in the eye instead of staring down at that hot dog, which is a very excellent Leave It.
Leave it.
Good. Now, earlier, we actually started this entire thing off with food in a closed fist. Gio's going to actually demonstrate that really quickly. So closed fist, he cannot see the hot dog, he can only smell it. So we try to work with one sense at a time to make it simple at first. Good. And then once he gets really good at leaving the scent of the hot dog alone, then we're going to flash it to him and work with visual and scent. If the dog can see it and smell it, it's much harder for them to leave.
Good boy, you're making it easier on yourself. Good.
Yes.
Good. Leave it.
Good. We love using food Leave It first because food is very hard to leave, but it's also very reliable, and we can move on to other hard Leave It's for him, such as people.
Leave it. Yes.
Now notice how Gio is slowly getting closer and closer to the floor.
Yes.
We've been doing hand Leave It's. Hand Leave It's is a good way to start. It also helps make the hands not such a big deal for Caesar. Sometimes he goes for our hands, he bites at them, like, oh, what do you have your hand, or pet me. Meanwhile, practicing hand Leave It's like this really helps him leave our hands alone naturally. So Gio's getting closer and closer to the floor, as you can see.
Caesar, leave it.
Good. The moment he looks away, she clicks and give him a treat. Very, very deliberate, as you saw right there. So we keep saying that he's making it easier for himself. That means, as you see, Caesar's laying down. We did not ask him to lay down. He is choosing to lay down because for him, it's easier for him to focus while laying down. So he's choosing to do this because Leave It is such a hard behavior for him to learn.
Yes.
Good. Good job. Also, Leave It is only a verbal cue, meaning that we only have the word. There is no visual cue that goes with Leave It. There is no hand signal for it. So it's really important, like Gio's doing, it's important to only say the cue one time. If we say leave it, leave it, leave it, Caesar's leave it, then you potentially break the cue. Yes. Meanwhile, saying it only one time and being patient and making sure that we don't do too hard of a leave it really helps him understand that we only say leave it one time.
Caesar, leave it. Yes.
Good job. Good job. Now, when he goes for it, and he's not doing such a good job, let's say he's failing, quote unquote failing, she's going to cover it with her foot. But this is still all really good practice for him. Good boy. Good job. So again, we are playing around with visual. We're also playing around with a little bit of movement. Can you just leave the hot dog alone while she rolls it backwards? and she is constantly reinforcing him for making this decision. It's really awesome decision he's making.
Okay. It's loud. Yeah, that's loud.
Leave it. Yes.
Good boy. Good job. Now, the next part of leave it. This is a pretty advanced leave it. She actually moved away from the hot dog, which is something that you're not going to do first. This is actually very advanced. She moved away, and let's say he's getting really good at leaving it while doing this right here. Then we're going to ask him to walk away from the leave it. Sometimes Caesar just stands over it as if he's babysitting it. I'm just going to stare at this thing. No, I want you to walk past it. I'm asking for a touch.
You can do it.
So right now, yes, Gio asks him to touch, walk past it. Can you still leave it as you're walking past it? For him, he wants to babysit. We're not letting him babysit it. Not letting him sit and stand to stare at it and then look away. Leave it forever, Caesar. I know it's hard.
Leave it. Yes, good boy.
When
Good.
practicing leave it, it's important that we have a very high value treat. Leave it should always be hard. It should never be easy. So to make this more worth his while, though, it's important to have a very high value treat that you are rewarding him with. There's a hot dog on the ground, so we have chicken nuggets, actually chicken tenders to help him out.
Okay.
Good job. Good job.
Good.
Really good job, Caesar.
Good. This is a much more advanced leave it. Do not do this yet. I'm very attuned to how dogs are kind of keen to moving in on what they're supposed to be leaving alone for the time being. Keep this really stationary so your practice sessions will look much like this. Set it on the floor. You really shouldn't even toss it. Put it down on the floor. Tell him leave it. Yes. And all you're doing is you're conditioning him to understand what the words leave it means. I understand this is very basic. This will not work yet for people or for real life situations. But this is the beginning. And you see that he thinks he's slick. If I'm not looking at it, he's going to try and go for it. That does mean that he is not ready for the next step quite yet, but we will get there. So just practice the basic version. Keep it simple for yourself. You may also do this with possibly countertops, tabletops, or if anything is stationary.
But yes, all right. Well, Caesar did a really good job today. We're going to expand on this, and happy training. Good luck at practice and leave it. Good job, guys.
Yeah,